I was walking around today and had such great memories of the teachers that I was here with, and I went here from second grade through 12. You really do something extraordinary every year, and you bring knowledge to high schoolers who are sometimes unwilling to receive it, I would say. From someone who has had 37 years now to reflect on that reality, it is some serious commitment. Now, as mentioned, I graduated from King in 1980, and I've always wanted to have the opportunity to stand at this podium and simply say two things. Thank you for all the patience and commitment to teaching me far beyond what was in my textbooks. And also I want to apologize for not reading some of my textbooks. There was a lot of reading, but I'll get to that later. Okay, let's get to it. There are three things that I'd like to talk to you about today. Now, I know the pluses and minuses of saying three things. The plus is that you now have a sense of the structure of what I'm about to say. The minus is that, for me, you're going to be counting and impatiently waiting for me to get to three so that you know at least when I'm close to done. But I hope what I have to share is worth the wait. There's a game you can play with a new group of people when you get together that's called an icebreaker, something to get you to know the other people in a simple way. And one common game is two truths and a lie. You come up with three things, and the other people have to guess which one is a lie. For example, I might say to you, I've worked with someone who is a cold case murderer. I've been chased by a car, and my wife has carried another friend's baby. You have to guess when one is a lie. And I'll get to that answer later. So let me set out for you the three things, and I hope you remember the lie and the truth behind it more than the other things I say today. Nisha, that's to you. And the three things are finding a path or career that's right for you, achieving work-life balance as you do it, and how all that can lead to some definition of success. Now, I've been fortunate to work in technology, and in particular Silicon Valley, for the past 20 years. And as a result, I have a sense of tech trends and where we are in the arc of technology, I like to think. And aside from the question I often get of, what's Mark Zuckerberg like? He's actually, I can talk about it later too. I get asked about what someone's kid needs to do to get a job at eBay, Google, Instagram, or Facebook. And yes, I totally know that a bunch of you are in the caps and gowns, spend more time on Snapchat, including Jonathan Richter. You just don't have to rub it in my face. Now, one of the traits we looked for at Facebook that I think was taught to me at King was to be curious and to want to learn. For me, I've always been curious about pop culture and why people do what they do, what people call consumer behavior. I read a lot of magazines, I watched a lot of TV, and I saw a lot of movies growing up. I grew up in a very creative family. My father was in advertising, my mother was an artist and a teacher. My sister is a writer, my brother a photographer, my uncle was a cartoonist. I was better at math. Well, to be clear, that's a relative statement. If you asked Mr. Wallace, I was okay at math. He was here, by the way, when I was here, which is extraordinary. So best wishes to Mr. Wallace on getting better. Well, it turned out when the internet started to grow that people who were both creative and good at math were in demand. My point here is simple. I've been lucky and fortunate. But my question to you is, what are you truly curious about? When you have time to do what you want to do, it has to be something that actually can be a career. You with the wandering minds, what is that thing? And think about how that can be your profession. Take classes in that area. In college, take a range of classes and get yourself to be uncomfortable. Talk to people who do those jobs. Experiment with different facets of it. And I would say you likely have a ridiculous access in a community like this to people who have an interest in helping you. Just ask them about their stories and they'll likely share them and help you. For me, I simply offered a guy a beer from a keg at a fundraiser for my local congressman, a gentleman named Stuart McKinney, when I was 21. And that led to my first marketing job at Pepsi. I wasn't even going to go to that fundraiser that day. I was home I'd fallen asleep watching a baseball game with my dad, because baseball's, you can fall asleep during baseball. But my dad encouraged me to go, and that was a total fluke and led it to my first job in marketing. So I'd say it's not enough to want to be a doctor, a lawyer, a banker, or even a marketer. Those are labels and not fulfillment. What do you want to learn a massive amount about and do most days of your life? Let's start with that question. Second, we're now on number 2, by the way. In regards to schoolwork or a job after college, particularly in this always connected world, you will struggle with how you balance your work and non-work life. Work-life balance is talked about a lot, but I've learned that I think it's really the wrong discussion. If you start with working in an area that is fulfilling for you, the stress level of work is reduced. Doing something you enjoy, quite simply, is less taxing than something you don't. But interestingly, we've looked at this pretty extensively at Facebook. When we review employee surveys, there's actually no correlation between how people rate their work-life balance and their desire to stay at Facebook, nor their job satisfaction. What drives that desire is whether they're doing work that is fulfilling. Work-life balance is up to you. That is true in school or a job. You have to make choices, learn how to work smarter. In particular, you may not realize this, but King has actually trained you well here. One of the benefits of so much schoolwork is that you started to learn what work you actually have to do and what you don't. As I said, I didn't read everything I was told to read. That was my way to get balance and to choose what to learn. Another approach I've learned is called work-life integration. How well do you make explicit choices about how you spend your time? Reed Hastings, who's the founder of Netflix and on the board of Facebook, talks about this idea of work-life integration. He made an agreement with his family that he's away no more than 10 days per month. Any dinners, conferences, or travel has to fit into those days. It forces him to make clear trade-offs rather than succumb to the priorities of others. How you work, what you do, and how well you choose is up to you. The people I know who have the best balance make choices all the time, and they don't let other people's priorities dominate their own. Okay, so let's take a quick break and look at the clock. We got 2 down. First, in finding a fulfilling career, my belief is to determine what you are innately curious about and head that way. Second, you have to balance your life to make clear choices and not simply respond to the priorities of others. And so if you do these 2 things, you choose fulfilling work and choose to find balance, as you do it, we can move on to finding success on your own terms. And off you go, right? So there it is. I left it as the 3rd point, the lie, the setup for success. The fact is, in my experience in my own life and in my observations of others, success does not rest on the right career or work-life balance. It rests on something we don't talk that much about: love. Who you choose to love as your companion in life, and who you choose to love you back, who is going to love you. God, I think this is going to happen, actually, I got to say. Who you choose to love you not just for who you are, but grow with you to be the person you will become. It is the decisions you make about love that are the foundation of everything else. Now, I may expect there are a few in the audience who are thinking, so this guy flies in from California, he's going to talk to me about feelings, he's crying, that's just great. So, what I would say is, while love certainly is a feeling, it is also very much a choice. And my biggest recommendation to the graduating class is you have been trained to this point about college and careers and success. And those things are important. Certainly, people who graduate from college massively out-earn those who don't. Well, excluding, of course, the founders of Microsoft, Facebook, and Snapchat. But they are the total outliers that do prove the rule. I have seen more careers go sideways because someone just didn't choose the right partner in love. Now, absolutely, people recover from choices gone wrong, but it is harder and more complicated. For me, the main reason I'm here today is because of my wife and her love and belief in me. First of all, I went to King when it was all boys, so I can't say that I ever had any game at all. She asked me out. But we put as much thought and have put as much work in deciding to marry and how we grow together as any job. No one really tells you this. We are so focused on the external definitions of success that we don't talk about the most important one that defines your most central relationship. Now, as far as getting to Facebook, I had had a series of pretty short roles in my career up until I was nearly 40. I had worked places from 2 to 4 years. I cannot say it was destined to be asked to speak at this commencement as an example. But I've always been open to taking risks. And about 15 years ago, I asked my wife to move what we thought at the time was one more time, after 2 people I worked with at Pepsi asked me to consider moving to California. I interviewed at eBay when it was about 250 people in headquarters. And I simply told my wife, Catherine, who's sitting here today, that I was energized by the place in a way I hadn't been before, and she supported me enough to say, let's go. And it's through my 6+ years at eBay that I met Sheryl Sandberg and then Mark Zuckerberg, and here I am. But to me, that's not success. I know that is some definition of it, but it's something random, filled with luck and timing, and certainly some perseverance. What I want you to consider is that you have so much ahead of you and have been so schooled in how to learn and head on the path to success. And I think if you put as much thought and consideration into who you love and to who is to love you, that you have a higher chance of a wonderful, fulfilling livelihood in life. You have time. You will fall in and out of love. You may have already. But start to think about who you want to grow with when you choose who you're going to love, who can partner with you to challenge you and believe in you when nothing is really assured. And on that foundation, if you head toward what drives your curiosity and choose how to prioritize what's around you to be balanced, you will define your own success. Congratulations, graduate. To the graduates, celebrate what you've earned, rejoice in what's to come, and avoid the lie of others' definitions of success. Make the commitment to take all your talents to find the right love for you, and I'm hopeful those around you will learn this truth from you as well. And oh, by the way, as to the setup of our 2 truths and a lie, I have worked with someone who turned out to be a murderer. My wife did carry a friend's child, and I've never been chased by a car. Thank you. Lastly, I just want to say to the class of 2017, thank you so much for your attention. Be safe this summer. Get a lot of rest. You're going to need it for college.